Do you know we rabbit?
Oh, rabbit. I saw
what you're
somebody
supposed to say?
posted that, and I never understood what
I
that
never quite
was.
understood that one either.
Me either.
Yeah.
I just remembered it, so we're good.
So anyway, local events with
Local
Marty.
events. Bells Falls Opera House tonight is the one that you've all been waiting for, ladies. 80 for Brady.
That's tonight?
It's tonight. No, yeah, tonight's. Oh, no,
Tonight's classic movie.
No, there is no class. I'm sorry, but happening at the Opera House tomorrow.
Oh,
You're
okay.
right. It's Wednesday. You're confusing me. Is 80 for Brady, and that's the big news. Is the classic movies. It could be a classic movie. There's classic actresses. Will return in April, so they're not
okay.
doing classic movies because You're in Town is the last 2 weeks of
that's
the month.
right.
Yeah, but I scoured the internet and I found a substitute for your classic movie. Down at Next Stage, they're doing a whole rockumentary film series, and they're doing this movie. It's really cool. It's called Searching for Sugar Man. It's about this 1970s musician called Rodriguez, who didn't have many hits here in the United States, but he was huge in South Africa. And they
Interesting.
there was a rumor that he had died or committed suicide, and then, anyway, this documentarian decided to find out if that was true, and he found him, and he had like this resurgence in his career.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's really
That
interesting.
sounds
It's one of
like
those
a
movies like
fascinating-
you'd never think you want to
Yeah.
see, but it's a really good movie. So that's happening next Wednesday, down at Next Stage Arts, and it starts at 7 p.m. The Bells Falls Drama Club is doing SpongeBob the Musical, so they're back doing musicals and doing productions. It's March 10th at 7 p.m., and March 11th they're doing a matinee at 2 and then an evening show at 7. And Urinetown is coming. That's the reason for no classic films. Urinetown starts on March 24th, runs the 24th, 25th, 26th. Then it runs the 30th, the 31st, and April 1st. So it's only 2 weekends. You can get tickets at the Bells Falls Opera House website. Super easy to buy the tickets. There's levels of tickets, so they're good price ranges. And if you haven't stopped by, if you haven't had to go into the town hall and peeked in, the set as usual is amazing, and the show is going to be amazing. Steel Wheels will be here. That's the second in the Ray Masuko concert series. That's happening on Friday, April 7th. Again, tickets are going fast, so make sure that you get on the Bells Falls Opera House website to get your tickets. Smells Like Nirvana. I can't get that out without being like, ew. Smells Like Nirvana.
I hear they're really good.
I'm sure they're wonderful.
A lot of people are very excited about
it's
this.
It's just the name. It's happening on Thursday, May 18th at the Opera House. Again, tickets available on the website. Probably going to be a sellout. The third of the Ray Masuko concert series is Chris Smither.
Mm-hmm.
That's happening on Saturday, September 23rd. You maybe have a little bit of time to decide about that, but if you definitely want a good seat, choose it now. Coming in June, I know seems like it's a really long time away, but we want to make sure everybody knows about it, is the Bells Falls Festival. It's co-sponsored by the Bells Falls Rotary Club and the I could have had a brain cramp there. The Wild Goose Players. It's going to be music from 1 till 10:30 at night. There's going to be some local bands that start, a couple of headliners that people will recognize, and we want to make sure you save the date because it's going to be a fun time. There's going to be food trucks. We're going to have a beer vendor there.
Wow.
And then this just in, I didn't see it, but Jesse Peters is going to be playing on March 5th at 33 Bridge Street with some other musicians. Jesse's been playing in the area forever and does a really nice job. So make sure that if you're looking just for something to do on March 5th that you go down to 33 Bridge and check out Jesse Peters.
Yeah. This stuff is really creeping up on us fast. It's like it was February for like a year, and now March is here, and it's like
2 years of January.
Yeah. Because I saw someone the other day, and they said, "Well, that's going to be closed until March," and I was like, "Wow, that's a long time." And then I was like, "Well, that's actually a day."
Yeah.
Anyway, the other thing we didn't mention, and because these things creep up on us, town meeting is
Town
next
meeting,
week.
you're right.
Yeah,
Yep.
so remember to get to town meeting and vote, because a lot of the things that are done at town meeting, it's like 10 people voting for a budget of millions of dollars.
I think
so
the budget is now permanent. Isn't the budget now permanently on Australian
I
budget?
hope so.
I think after COVID, they changed the actual budget. I mean, the town budget.
Okay,
There's still a lot
but
of
those little articles that you have to vote for.
I think. Do not quote me, please. People do
Okay.
not get irate on Facebook, but I'm pretty sure that everything went to
That's the
Australian
nice thing about this is people can't really get irate at us in person. It's really sort of cool.
Protected.
Yes, we're protected. So, Jared, it's nice having you here.
Yeah,
Thank
it's great
you.
to be here. Thanks for inviting
coming.
me.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I moved from Boston in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
I raised my son there, who's now 18, and moved up here. But I first was exposed to the area. I went to the Putney School.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So I was there for a few years, and so was the co-founder of the Field Center. We met there. We weren't at the same time, but I went back to visit my little brother and met her. So I suppose that's sort of where my connection to the area began. I fell in love with the area and then came back briefly around 2000 and lived in Brattleboro and met my son's mother, my then wife. And I always said that I was going to move back here, so here we are. Yeah.
And then what do you do?
Yeah. Well, I was trained as a painter and a visual artist, and then and I was raised by artists, and then I did martial arts on the side.
Oh, really?
For years, and I got injured in martial arts and was exposed to movement, to dance. And not somebody that spent any time in dance classes. I was already 40 by that point.
Really?
And went to my first dance class and sort of had a moment and just felt like I want to learn more about this. And yeah.
Was the dance class like to help you rehab from the injury?
Yeah, I wanted to do something that felt maybe a little safer in my body and where I could sort of move the way I felt I could move. And so it was an improvisation class.
Oh.
And I kind of got dragged there, and I left the class and I said, my body actually feels good. Actually, I was so used to pain that I sort of forgot that I could move and not feel that. So I started I had a spare room in my house, and I started bringing teachers in from out of town to come and teach classes. So that I could get a free dance education, really. And then people started showing up for them, and I sort of fell in love with producing dance. I remember sort of thinking, is this a job? Because I love this. So I kept my day job, obviously, but I started thinking about what it might be like to someday run something.
But isn't that the best kind of job, is when you can't figure out if it's a job or not?
Yeah. I feel like I never work a day.
I was just going to say, if you love your job, you never work a day.
That's how I feel, yeah.
We have a clip of the space, and let's show that, and then we can come back and you can talk about
I haven't seen it, so I'm excited.
It's an incredible space. That is an amazing space.
Yeah. Well, I mean, other people in town might know it from it being in, because it was an inn, 3 different inns, I think, over the years.
Yeah. And then it was a retreat, right? Like a yoga retreat?
A yoga retreat. I think the Yagna Inn was using it for some Airbnb stuff or some bed and breakfast stuff and some.
And prior to that, it was originally so the sequence is originally it was the Madrigal.
Yeah.
Madrigal,
That's right. And then it was Cranberry.
Yeah.
And then it was Yagna. Is that the
Yeah, I
sequence?
think so.
Yeah, I think so.
How did you find it?
Well, I
Inns
mean,
are us.
Yeah. Well, we were looking in the area, and my friend Nuria and I, who's the co-owner, and we both sold our houses, and we really just wanted to like go for it. And suddenly it popped up, and it looked like it had been vacant for about 1.5 years, and maybe it's partly because of COVID, but also partly because it's a very specific place. I mean, but we fell in love right away. So.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
I mean, for what I think you'd want to do, I think it's almost ideal, isn't it? I mean, with the big, if you wanted to do dance, wow, what an amazing place. And then in the summer, I went to your open house, and in the summer there's gardens and sunflowers, and what a wonderful spot.
Yeah, it's great, and people camp, and I mean, it's really. I've wanted a place where artists could feel like they could relax a little bit. Being an artist, if you're doing it for a living, is not easy in this country, especially. You're working all the time, and you're kind of begging for money all the time.
Yeah.
And often don't have health insurance, or you're just between gigs all the time. And what would it be like to just kind of be able to rest, relax, and do the work? And it's been great. I think people have really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Plus in a super inspired environment.
Yeah.
I mean, with the light and the wood and the outside. I mean, I know it was winter, but even just listening to the rain dripping down,
it was really,
melting
something.
Was,
The wind
I imagine,
chimes
in
and
the
the
summer
rain
and in the fall. So you have just all of that beauty. What more inspiration?
Yeah, and in the basement we have a recording studio that we've been building, and a large mixed media space for painting. We're starting some figure drawing classes in there. So there's multiple studios that people can be working in. Yeah.
And how did the name the Field Center? Because it kind of if you don't know, you don't know what it is.
Yeah. We were trying to come up with a name for a long time. We went a lot of different directions. We wanted a place that supported the fields of performance and dance, which is where Nuria and I both sort of come from. And also these beautiful fields that are around it. And then we were thinking of sort of the fields, the sort of energetic fields between all of us, and maybe how all of those things are also coming together in this place. So, we had it's like baby names. I mean, you have a few, and then you're like, I guess I'm going to go with this one.
well, that makes perfect sense then. But I was like, I wondered about that, because sometimes it's hard. If something doesn't directly describe what you're doing, but now this makes 100% sense.
Yes.
Yeah, we didn't want to limit ourselves too, because I know for many people, myself included, I'm not sure where dance begins and music ends, or it's all quite, and we didn't want to sort of focus too much on one thing.
So what workshops are you doing, or what directions are you going in right now?
Yeah.
Or do you hope to go in?
Well, we've done about a year of programming so far, and so some of it has felt a little bit like throwing paint at the wall to see what people want, what people are going to show up for, and also what people respond to the most. But we do a whole variety of things that are ranging between 4 to 5 days, sort of a long weekend, and 2 weeks. Most involve some aspect of dance and performance. So they could be a teacher teaching literal dance classes in the morning and the afternoon, and evenings hanging out by the fire and resting. Ones have been focused more on body mechanics and healthy movement. This is the series called the Axis Syllabus, which is about moving safely in your body. We have had workshops on sound and video, how to edit video, and how to create sound scores for performance. We've had, I mean, all sorts of things. Costuming. We spent 2 weeks doing costuming with a bunch of people up there, which was really fun.
Have you met David Stern?
I keep hearing about David Stern.
You should definitely connect. Definitely.
I was thinking there's several people you connect.
Yeah, definitely.
I know. I feel like
Krasinski,
this whole area is just filled with so many amazing people who are doing great things.
So where do most of your clients come from?
Yeah, well, because of the Amtrak, it's just really been amazing. I have to say.
That's true.
I mean, because of what I was doing, Nuria was based in the West Coast and I was based in Boston. A lot of the people that were coming to our events were either from Boston or New York. And that's continued initially, so we have a lot of people that come up on the Amtrak from New York.
I would think that would be
and
great.
A lot of people from Philadelphia, and a fair amount of people from Washington, D.C.,
Oh, cool.
and more people from Vermont. We're wanting to have more and more people from New England, but partly because of COVID and partly because of just the nature of things, we've been holding longer events. So we're hoping as we start having more daily classes and that more folks in town will come up or just stop by because it's...
Yeah.
Well, I think there's a lot of people already doing a lot of things, and this would be great. I don't know if people know that you might have day classes or you have these things going on.
Yeah.
So, and as you know, it's hard to get the word out around here
It
sometimes.
is, and also,
It is, and we don't have a paper, and so. But things like this is how people can come together. And there are so many. Your story is unique, but it's all very common with a lot of people that end up here.
Yeah, you fall in love with the area and you never forget it, and you say, one day.
That's funny because you answered it before Mike got a chance to ask it, but that's Mike's favorite question to ask is, how did you end up here? Because he's a transplant. I'm native.
I came here from Dallas.
Wow. Yeah, and you grew up here.
I grew up here,
We're our juxtaposition here.
I'm a native, and he might
That's
be
very
what's known
nice
as
that
a
you put up with
flatlander.
him.
I know.
My comeback is always, I choose to be here. I mean, I looked around a lot of places and ended up here.
And again, we say this like every time, but that's what I find fascinating. When folks choose to be here, they see the potential.
Yeah.
They see the
The
beauty.
beauty,
They see all the things that are going on.
Yeah.
And when folks, not everybody, but when folks have grown up here, they tend to focus on the negative.
Yeah.
There's nothing to do. There's never anything. And
Grass
so that's
is
why
always
we
greener.
really try to promote that there's so much to do. And here's a whole nother level of things to do. You do something called a monthly jam.
Yeah.
What's that? Talk about that a little bit for us.
Jams come from contact improvisation. Come from jazz. But it generally refers to improvisation, or in this case, contact improvisation. So in a jazz jam, it would just be an opportunity for people to improvise together. So sort of an open space. And that's what this is. So it's a space where people come up. There's some facilitation. So there's sort of an hour of teaching. And then an open space for people to move. Contact improvisation, for those who don't know, is a form that was developed in the 70s, a dance form that was actually based initially on this idea of what would be left if we took away music, choreography, audience, and everything. Is it still dance? Is there still any dance left? And so what they focused on was sort of physics, like centrifugal force and momentum and friction and some of these things. So the form looks like two people sort of weight sharing in different ways and exploring weight sharing in different ways in order to sort of develop a dance. So it can feel very like, wow, that's a lot of contact. And I invite people to move slowly. You're welcome to come and just watch. I am one of those people, by the way, who was like, ooh. But
Sitting next to someone that was like, ooh, the same thing,
Yeah, I knew in martial arts how to be in contact in a different way, but I didn't understand this sort of collaborative partnering dance form. And I've come to really love it, and I do think that it's a very healthy way of moving. So that's offered the second Wednesday of every month. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And that's open to anyone to just show
Open
up?
to anyone. There's
They're
a drop-in,
curious.
and you're welcome to spend the night or take a sauna. We have a sauna. or just drop in and watch and take off and keep doing that until you feel like you can enter.
Yeah, I was just going to say, is like if someone were curious about what you did, what would be the best place for them to start?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, you're always welcome to reach out to me by email or even by phone and say, hey, I'd love to see this place, and I'm happy to give a tour. The monthly jam is a great time to stop in and actually see it filled with people and be like, is this something I'm interested in? And any of our workshops, really, if you said, hey, I would love to come on the first day or the second day and just sort of get a sense, I might be interested, but I don't really want to commit financially or my time, just reach out. I'm happy to do it. And,
Nice. What are your, like, moving forward, what are you thinking? Like, what's next on your...
Yeah, well, we're starting this weekly figure drawing class, which we're very excited about. That's going to be pretty much every Tuesday. There's a few days it's not happening, but it's all listed on the website, and that's with a live model, mostly nude model, so keep that in mind. You can pay for the whole series or come just once. Great instruction by Anya Smolnikova, who's one of the people that works at the Field Center but has been teaching drawing in Chicago for many years. And we have a workshop we have some contact improvisation workshops. We have a workshop in the Axis syllabus around how to move in partner dance in a way that doesn't hurt your body. We have a beautiful movement artist from California coming who teaches sort of acrobatics and more solo movement, which is great for people who want to try some more sort of virtuosic or exciting movements, tumbling and stuff like that. So lots.
Sounds like for someone that wants to try that but doesn't maybe want to go to this city, down to Boston or New York, that you are really bringing a lot of that quality right here in 10, 15 minutes away.
That's what I was thinking, a high level of technical training for someone who wants to be in the performing arts.
And hopefully ways in which we can all enter it to be like, I'm not a professional, but I want to be able to do some real classes. I've always thought that if I could live in a place like this, but have sort of enough stimulation that I would stay forever. And so...
so far, so good?
So far, so good. But also there's so much going on that I didn't know about. I mean, I'm just like, wow, it's popping.
We are popping. We are down to about a minute, believe it or not. So we did put your contact information up. Is there any last things that you want to invite people? One little aside thing. I don't know if you want to mention you're doing weddings.
We are open to we are open to rentals. We are open to some rentals, and we are talking with the town. We do hope to build a theater one day, and have live dance in places for people to come and see live dance.
Like an outdoor theater or an indoor?
No, an indoor theater where people for people that might be more nervous about taking classes but would like to see something.
Nice. Yeah. That's awesome.
Very nice. How are we doing on time?
30 seconds.
Oh, okay. Any last words?
No, just thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming on. It's such an exciting thing. And I do think I hope other artists are watching, because I could think there'd be some amazing collaborations.
I can't even. My mind is like spinning with all of the people that do so many things, and sometimes we have these little silos. If we can
if we can share. I can imagine some of the people who are performing in Urinetown and all these other things could really benefit from a nice...
and we all come and do admin at Flatiron and meet one another and stuff. So just reach out.
Well, that's it. So get in contact with Jared. He's great.
thefieldresidency@gmail.com.
All right.
We will see you next week.
We'll see you next week.
Thanks, folks.
Bye.
Awesome.
Local news, politics, business, sports, arts, music. My God.